All right. So, good afternoon again, Betul,
Thank you. Good afternoon to you.
and
Yeah,
thank you for joining my talk,
my
today's
pleasure.
talk, let's say. Pleasure for me. So, well, it has been a while that we didn't have the chance of talking to each other. It was
Yes.
just narrowed down to some messages,
Yeah.
and finally we made it. I know that you don't feel good these days, but thank you for not breaking down, not turning down, let's say, my invitation and joining today's conversation. I really appreciate it. So,
It's a pleasure.
as I have shared with you, the nature of this talk and conversation is, well, sharing our experience of, let's say, applying for teaching positions or being actually hired as a teacher, the ups and downs of working at universities, at schools. And I wonder, as a Turkish girl who's working in her hometown, the capital city of Turkey, Ankara, you could share some valuable and, of course, brief information with our friends and with me, of course.
Of course, I would love to. First of all, thank you for talking with me.
My
Such a
pleasure.
important thing like that.
My pleasure.
And I had some difficulties about that, of course, like everybody. But it turns out that when I think about ups and downs, every downs becomes a ups for
Mm.
me
Hmm.
because I was so worried about, before this job, before teaching,
Yeah.
I worked as an office. I worked in an office, and
Secretary job, huh?
yeah, like that.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I didn't I it didn't require so much energy, and I
Hmm.
wonder if I can handle with always I have to be up, I have to be energetic.
Hmm.
And it turns out being energetic, being open-minded, being not doing panic of uh,
Hmm.
things, it it turns me like the person I want to be. I am
Beautiful.
now energetic, and I am not doing panic because I work with children,
Hmm.
and they turned me to the person that I want to be.
Wonderful. And that's beautiful, isn't it?
Yes, yes, of
Because,
course.
correct me if I'm wrong, when you teach kids, the last duty that you are going to have is being and acting like a teacher. Because they don't want
Yes.
to see teacher inside the class. They want to see an actress, I don't know, a funny man who's knowledgeable and transfers the knowledge to them through a very wonderful and, let's say, amusement way and
Yes,
technique.
of course, of course.
Okay, so that was a shift, a big change in your career from secretary job. But by the way, that secretary job was in education or no? Different sector.
It is not a secretary job, but I worked in office as a copywriter.
I
I
see.
meant that I worked with the PC or with the
Hmm.
computer,
Hmm.
and not in a school. I
Hmm.
meant that, not the secretary job.
I got it. I know that you're into cinematography too.
Yes, of course.
So I think you're talking about that issue, content writing,
Mm.
many other issues related to that, which is a valuable job, by the way. If I were you, I wouldn't go toward teaching because we know that teaching is not going to make us millionaire.
Yes, of course, of course.
Okie dokie. Why?
Why teaching?
Hmm. Just because of getting some good mood? Because we know that teaching is not difficult, specifically teaching young learners.
Yes, it is about teaching, but for me, it is about thinking. Like, I love language. I love language philosophy, language. The whole concept of this
Hmm.
makes me think, makes me improve. And
Yeah.
so I learned English as a second language. It gave me so much. And a door opened with teaching. Why teaching? It is because Second door is for me. It makes me improve so much more learning. Teaching is kind of a way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting me successful for anything else. I am successful. I'm more successful for daily routines, for relationships,
Mm-hmm.
because teaching makes teachings allows me to train on my psychology, on my mental
Yeah.
health,
Yeah.
and it is kind of personal, but it worked on me, and it worked the people I
Mm-hmm.
am teaching.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. I think we have already talked about it. Majority of learning happens in teaching. So when you
Yes,
teach something, you will never forget it. And on the other hand, all right, the university qualifications, crucially important, internationally recognized certificates and diplomas, CELTA, Delta, TESOL, very important. But we all turn to be a teacher, preferably a good teacher, inside the class by
yes,
making mistakes, by learning from our mistakes. When I say learning happens in teaching, it doesn't mean that by teaching, it doesn't just mean that by teaching present perfect, we learn present perfect by heart. No, you have mentioned psychology. Well, I do agree with you that a teacher, technically speaking, should be a psychologist without reading any book or pamphlet about psychology, by coping with different people from different background, different characteristic. Well, we learn practically. We learn a lot of things about psychology, and that's the beautiful, let's say, side and part of teaching, which is incomparable with any other things in the world. That's what I call it, ultimate satisfaction in teaching.
yes.
So, where do you work right now? I know where you work, but just in case.
In a college in Ankara, in a primary school,
All right.
I am the speaking teacher for first, second, third, and the fourth graders.
Mm-hmm.
I have one lesson for each class. So I have 25 class in.
Hours. Hmm?
Yep, yep.
Wow.
We are playing games, we are watching movies, and we are speaking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Making kids or young learners, politely speaking, talk
Yes.
is not that easy. And
Yep,
now imagine you
for
need to
sure.
push them, you need to, I don't know if motivate is a correct word or not, motivate them to talk, not by using their mother tongue, but by using a second language, which is very challenging, very challenging. And
Yes.
I love it. How satisfied are you of your current position?
I am satisfied with my position, my current position, because I wanted to do it in these years of my career,
Mm-hmm.
because I am learning so much thing with the children. Of course, in a 5 years, in 10 years, I don't know what will happen, but uh, this year, particularly this year, taught me so much. So I
Mm-hmm.
am so satisfied, and I'm kind of happy for doing it.
Interesting. All right. You addressed me to my next question by
Okay.
talking about next 5 years or 10 years. My question is, all right, imagine 5 years passed.
Mhm.
Where would you imagine yourself? Where will you imagine yourself after 5 years?
It's a hard one.
It is
I
supposed to
have
be hard.
so much dreams, and I am following them. I am following for like three paths. I do something for that, but in 5 years, I think I will be at university as a academician.
Very
I
good.
want that. Yes, I
Very
want,
good.
and I want to work on a third language as
Hmm.
German,
Hmm.
and so it is my plan. I
Perfect. Speaking of university position, if you're thinking of relocation and moving to Istanbul, you know that you're always welcome to our school. So,
Thank you so much.
when, honestly, when it is hiring time next July,
Mhm.
I will let you know and you can apply.
I would love to.
So
I
who
would love
knows,
to.
maybe in near future you will be my colleague here at school.
Yes, yes,
All
yes.
right, all right, all right. So just one more question. Well, it might look like a job interview, all right? But that's
No.
a very typical and common question that all teachers are asked the time of job interview for getting a prominent, let's say, teaching position. How, as a teacher, you constantly keep yourself motivated? Because from outside, for some people, teaching might look like a monotonous and repetitive, let's say,
Mhm.
even and boring job. So,
Yes.
how you, as a teacher of young learners, constantly keep yourself motivated?
It is easy for me. My motivation is my other ambitions, not teaching.
Mm-hmm.
When I come home from school, I think about the movie that I want to make, I want to shoot, the book maybe I want to write, and
Mm-hmm.
sports. Absolutely, this is the one thing
Mm-hmm.
I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
The, these things make me. I am not a fan of routine. You know, every morning get up, go to school, and speak, and
Mm-hmm.
turn. It is not. Eventually, you will lost your motivation.
Mm-hmm.
So I feed my the other ambitions, the other hobbies,
Yeah.
the other paths I want to walk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it makes me so high.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
I see. So yeah, it's quite normal. You will lose a lot of things if you constantly focus on one thing. All
Yes,
right, all right, all right. So maybe we can call it the first episode of our conversation. Later on, if you agree, we can go through more details about applying for position, how to get positions in Ankara, how different would it be from finding and getting positions in Istanbul and other cities of Turkey.
of
But
course.
I know that you've got a very compact schedule. I just want to thank you again for accepting my invitation and
I
joining
thank you.
today's talk. And merci beaucoup, mademoiselle. Je vous remercie. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
teşekkürler.
Rica ederim.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Danke.
All right. Oh, yeah. Danke, German. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye, everybody.